The center section of the Soyuz, called the descent module, the only section that returns to Earth.
RODK digital control mode is on. We confirm RODK, and we confirm translational hand controller. And do you want me to switch to the digital control mode display? Yes, please.
Anton Shkaplerov in manual control of the flying of the Soyuz. Thrusters firing on the Soyuz vehicle as it continues to back away from the International Space Station. On the right side, one of the ultra-flex solar arrays on the Northrop Grumman Cygnus spacecraft.
Working with the HSE mode. Okay, and let's try the Mark 3. No luck? No. There is nothing, there is no middle ground there. Okay, sounds good. All right, the command has been sent. Copy.
The backaway burn in progress. This will put the Soyuz at a position about 70 meters from the International Space Station to allow Dubrov to move to the upper section of the orbital module to set up for photography and videography of the ISS.
Anton, as you are departing, try playing with the HSE mode a little bit more to see if we can improve the image. Copy. Pyotr, let's put it in work. And in work. I am performing the roll maneuver. Copy.
The Soyuz has reached a station-keeping point about 70 meters, and you can see a roll program initiated under the manual control of Soyuz Commander Anton Shkaplerov. This will place the Soyuz at the right orientation so that the window in the orbital module, the upper section of the Soyuz, is properly aligned to enable Pyotr Dubrov to conduct digital still photography and videography of the Russian segment. This view now from the external engineering camera on the outside of the Soyuz.
Monitor the range while you are performing station keeping. Started on
a close-up view of the Soyuz MS-19, looking right at the docking mechanism that held the Soyuz in place to the Rassvet module of the International Space Station. Anton Shkaplerov, the Soyuz commander, in the center seat of the descent module, the center section of the three-section Soyuz vehicle, is awaiting the green light from Russian flight controllers to begin to translate or maneuver the Soyuz from its current position a few feet to the right so that he's aligned with the Prishal node module for photography and videography by Pyotr Dubrov.
I'm standing by for your report that the station keeping is complete.
And the Soyuz now positioned 230 meters away from the Prishal module as Dubrov continues his photography and videography.
Now, Anton. So the OSK is illuminated, deactivated. I am deactivating it, Moscow. I heard that, quite the opposite first. Copy.
You can hear the sound of the camera shutter clicking away as Pyotr Dubrov continues his photography for a few more minutes. The Soyuz executing a separation burn to begin phasing away from the International Space Station. That photography and videography will be complete a short time from now, at which point Dubrov will stow the cameras and return to the descent module, the center section, where he will strap into the left seat next to Shkaplerov for the remainder of the trip back to Earth. And there's our Soyuz MS-19 under the orange and white parachute, less than 8 minutes before touchdown. Partly cloudy skies, temperatures in the mid-40s Fahrenheit. The search and recovery forces now have reestablished contact with the crew on board the Soyuz MS-19 under the command of Anton Shkaplerov. The Soyuz descending under its parachute, having jettisoned the heat shield and having vented as planned a combination of hydrogen peroxide and oxygen to save the vehicle from the dispelling of any toxic fuels after touchdown. We're just over 7 minutes before landing to wrap up a year-long mission for Mark Vande Hei and Pyotr Dubrov and 176 days in space for Anton Shkaplerov. All of the entry events have gone as planned. The crew at last report indicating that they were feeling great. We should see the horizon momentarily. There's one of the Russian Mi-8 helicopters as we stand by for touchdown. Touchdown. Touchdown confirmed at 6:28 a.m. Central Time, 7:28 a.m. Eastern Time, 5:28 p.m. at the landing site. Mark Vande Hei and Pyotr Dubrov back home 1 year after leaving the planet. And we're back with live video from the landing site. Anton Shkaplerov, the Soyuz commander, out of the spacecraft.
Great air and no dust.
You see RSC Energia and search and recovery personnel working on the continuing extraction of the other two crew members, Mark Vande Hei and Pyotr Dubrov. Anton Shkaplerov was first out, as is typically the case, with the Soyuz commander occupying the center seat. He will always be extracted first to open a pathway, if you will, for the extraction of the other two crew members. And Pyotr Dubrov, outside of the Soyuz capsule, 355 days in space. He and Mark Vande Hei having launched together last April 9th. And NASA astronaut Mark Vande Hei now out of the Soyuz spacecraft.
Это точно, пролетели полгода, блядь.
The last night of the flight, we were on the cupola. Are you? Is this the second measurement? Yes, it is.
Is that my hat? Did my hat grow?
We'll get you your hat. I don't know where your hat is.
They can see you, and so you're welcome to send hello. So now that I'm on the ground, I am sending my regards from the ground rather than from space. The weather is beautiful. Everything went nominal. No injuries. Nobody was hurt, even though during the training expecting the landing, they told us that the weather was going to be bad, but the weather was perfect and everything is according to plan. Now we are going to proceed to rehabilitate from the flight. Move the commander. I want people from Khabarovsk to see me. All my friends are there, and I'm saying hello to all my friends. And if everybody is ready, no need to hurry, but let's get going. We need to turn them around.
Shkaplerov being carried into the nearby inflatable medical tent to Russian Mi-8 helicopters in the background. He'll be followed shortly by Vandehei and Dubrov. They'll get out of their Sokol launch and entry suits into more comfortable flight suits, and will board the helicopters for a 2-hour flight back to Karaganda, the staging city, where the crew will split up at that point. Vandehei flying on an acid jet back to Houston, the 2 cosmonauts returning to Star City, Russia, outside of Moscow.
What's that? Hey, hello everybody.
Home from the International Space Station. NASA's Mark Vandehei spent 355 days in space, longer than any other American in a single mission. 15 countries are part of the ISS, but the U.S. and Russia are its biggest stakeholders. Relations between the two nations are unraveling here on Earth because of Ukraine. But Mark Strassman shows us it's still business as usual in orbit for now.
Station, this is Houston. Are you ready for the event?
Floating above all the hostility on Earth, Russian cosmonaut Anton Shkaplerov handed over command of the ISS Tuesday to American astronaut Tom Marshburn.
Are they aware of what's going on Earth? Absolutely. But the teams are professional. The astronauts and cosmonauts are some of the most professional groups you'll ever see.
We have ignition and liftoff.
For 2 decades and counting, Russians and Americans have lived and worked together in space. By design, the ISS has been the interdependent space station. That Russian segment provides all propulsion, controlling the altitude of the ISS. The U.S. segment controls its orientation and provides satellite communications and solar power. Cosmonauts and astronauts operate their respective sides. They need each other to keep the ISS alive, even in moments of diplomatic crisis like Ukraine.
We have our problems with President Putin on Earth.
If he pulled the plug on this tomorrow, would the whole thing be at risk?
If they abandon the space station, we'd manage. We'd figure it out. But we don't anticipate that. It's survived all these years. It's not going to stop now.
But just last month, Dmitry Rogozin, the head of Russia's space agency, implied the Russians might abandon ship. He demanded ISS partner nations lift their sanctions, tweeting, "Who will save the ISS from an uncontrolled deorbit and fall into the United States or Europe?"
It's showing off for, an audience of one, meaning Vladimir Putin.
Scott Kelly commanded the ISS for 3 missions.
If Putin pulls out, could the Americans alone make it work?
It wouldn't be easy. Is it impossible? I would say no. I think NASA's proven that they're capable of doing some pretty amazing things.
Another worry in U.S.-Russia tensions, the U.S. wants to prolong the life of the space station to 2030. Russia has yet to commit past 2024. For CBS Mornings, Mark Strassman, Atlanta.
Mark, thank you very much.